at this time, we're going to have Sam from JJ Barney. If he's online and he has his camera on, we can have Sam. Sam, are you available?
Good evening, everyone. Sorry,
Okay.
I don't have my camera on.
Oh,
but,
you don't have your camera. Oh, okay. So everybody has to see me then.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Sam.
Good evening, everyone. This is Satyam Karnati. I'm working with JJ Bani as an estimator project manager. And my role here, majority of the time, is estimate and manage projects and do a little bit of project controls. So when I say little bit, we are still trying to develop the full-scale project controls methodology here. So when Honey invited me, I said, like, we do everything on Excel. Like Brandon and Hassam said, Excel is the simplest tool that we use here. And I'm trying to develop project controls methodology for JJ Bani. And I have a master's in construction management from Western, and I've been associated with JJ Bani for a couple of years. So I don't want to waste your time on going through the definitions that Brandon and Hassam has already covered. But my primary focus at JJ Bani, here we track 3 things on every project. So that's a weekly thing that we do: planned value, earned value, and actual cost. So our project control process starts from the beginning. So when we estimate our project, we have a estimator schedule and manpower requirements and initial phasing of the project. So once we get a project, so since we are the subcontractors, we do cast in place concrete division. So specialty concrete construction contractor. We are based in Rochester Hills, Michigan. So once we get a project awarded or in the post-bid phase, so our estimator reviews the scope of the work with the project team. So that's the project manager, superintendent, foreman, and our project control specialist, so who is our director. And so the estimator kind of shares his thoughts on the way he actually bid it. And then the project manager evaluates the requirements, manpower requirements, the standard time, like the regular, what's my crew and what's my peak time crew, based on the estimate schedules and the input from the foreman. So here we work together, the estimator and project manager along with our foreman, we work together to create a, based on the general contractors or the project managers, general contractor schedule, we kind of develop our work breakdown structure and use the same similar work breakdown structure and use it to develop our schedule of values. Like on a typical project, we will have foundations, flat work, and site work. That's my 3 primary breakouts. And then every activity has its sub activities. So once we do that, we will furnish work plans to our to the general contractors and foreman packet. So I will run you by what typically we have in the foreman packet. And then that also includes all the safety requirements and key milestones. So this is our initial.
So Sam, if I understand correctly, you do self-perform on only these 3 items that you mentioned: the site work in concrete, and what else?
We do anything in concrete. So we do demolition, excavation, all the renovation projects.
So
we also do
like
substation
one
works.
schedule in the beginning when you bid the job, and then another one when the general contractor asks you to synchronize your schedule with them, or how does it work usually with the
when we initially, like as an estimator, when I bid a project, so I will develop a schedule with the manpower requirements. And then I share the same thoughts, like, okay, so this specific activity that I have foundations, and we have 890 linear feet of foundations on this project. And according to the GC schedule, we have like uh, 30 working days. And then we will develop our own schedule and see. So that helps us to make a decision if I have to put like one team or two team of two crew team. So we will determine, and based on that we will furnish our initial, like during the bid time at JJ Bani, we will put our initial schedule together and furnish, this is what I came up with, and in accordance to your schedule, this is what I'm coming up. And then we can meet the requirement, and we will put it in, like typically I do it in Excel and show them like this is my work plan, and so my list of activities and the durations and my manpower. That way I'm giving them the information, like, you know what, I have a plan. And then,
because because it affects your productivity as well as efficiency and your costs if they change your schedule and maybe compress it or ask you to have more manpower or something, and how you change it. So that's why I asked that question, is that
yes,
if you
so
do
what
that
we
during the
typically do
estimation
is,
phase.
yeah, what we typically do is during the estimation phase, we furnish them the uh,
Mhm.
rough schedule, the order of magnitude, like this is how many days I have in this project, and the foundations, this is how I have. So when it comes to time, when it's time to actually do full plan meeting or captures of some schedule milestones, so that will give us some understanding. Okay, right now I have this is my crew size, and if I had to upsize my crew to meet the schedule, that's how I'm going to do. So it's either like determining if I'm going to work like 5 8 hour days, or 5 10 hour days, or if I need double the crew. So depending upon the type of the project and general
Okay.
contractor's requirement.
Hmm. Thank you.
So, and once we do that, we will just return all the subcontractors and suppliers in the initial phase of the plan, planning phase, and we will share our schedule and thoughts with our subcontractors. Say like, this is what I'm looking at doing, and this is how many tons of steel or how many cubic yards of concrete is what I need. So we discuss like, this is my peak pour, so I'm doing this slab 12,000 square feet a day, 6-inch slab, and this is going to be roughly 200 cubic yards of concrete. So we will discuss the peak time requirements with our subs and suppliers when we make a buyout decision. So our end value management applications at JJ Bani. So as I said, once we have a project, so we have the schedule of values and then work breakdown structures. And we also conduct weekly progress meetings with our key individuals like our superintendent, our foreman, and project managers will sit down together on the job site after the weekly progress meeting on the site, and then we will uh, discuss everything like the equipment, manpower requirements, and where are we supposed to and where we are, and what's the revised schedule looking like. And then we also have labor material equipment and tracking tool, progress invoices. So 4-week look ahead schedules. I'm gonna show you guys the sample of all these that I'm talking. I just put together a sample Excel tracking tool. As I said, good old simple Excel sheet is what I prefer. So this kind of correlates to what Brandon said. So this is how we break down our activities. So like right now here, I have foundation. I have, these are the 3 billable activities. And then I have excavation and backfilling, perimeter grade beam. So, and then I have flat work and I have associated activities. And we have site work and all the associated activities and all the changes. So this is according to our work breakdown structure based on our initial discussions, and this is what we furnish and use to bill our do our monthly billing also. So our monthly evaluation, like as I said in the presentation, so we have a weekly progress meeting. That's when me being a project manager, so we get together on site once in a week, and then so if you see our monthly input, so tracking the project. So this is how I do every month for the backup. So I have, so like this sample, for example, I have installed 17.6 tons of steel out of 55. That's 34.51. So that same percentage goes on to my schedule of value. And then that's how I'm billing. And then my installation. So how much of these 17.5 tons I have installed? So 12.6. And then excavation and backfill. How many total linear feet of exterior grade beams do I have? And the interior. This percentage that I have here is based on the width and depth. So, and then I distribute the cost accordingly. And then that's how I come up with the earned value in this column. So I have finished 24% till date on this, and I have earned 50,976. And on the interiors, I have earned 12,796. On a whole, that's my total activity for this excavation backfill activity. I have finished 20% of my work. Similarly, my exterior grade beams. So I will have a schedule of value activity and the linear feet, and that's how we do. So there are various ways.
How you have it's the same thinking of PMBOK and how we do in PMBOK. The only thing that is different is the 4-week look ahead. I was interested to know why you picked 4 week, and I know that, for example,
I'm going to show you
construction would ask you 6 week. I know Brandon used to do 6 week look ahead with us, but just want to know how this 4 week came up.
I'm gonna run you with that. I have a sample of that also, honey. So I'm gonna run you that. So this is our weekly tracking when we are on job, and then I will, based on our weekly input from the field.
Oh, so, just a second, Sam. It seems that you're showing a different screen or different thing on your Excel.
Yeah, that's
sheet.
what I'm trying to say. We don't see his Excel.
We don't
see that. Surprise. We still see your presentation, Sam.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks okay. For Brandon to point it out. Actually, he sent me.
I'm sorry.
Right now. Mm.
Okay. Ooh. Oops. Sorry.
I think you need to. Yes.
Okay, can you all see my Excel right now?
Yes. Now we can see.
So sorry for that. I messed it up. My bad. So as I said, let me go back. So this is how we do our work breakdown structure. So our schedule of values, when we develop the schedule of values, so we will break it down and then into sub activities, and each activities are associated with the quantities. So some of them are evaluated per ton, some of them are evaluated based on the cubic yards, and some of them are on the linear feet. Or so, and then my monthly evaluations for billing. So I'm sorry, I took all the time just to waste it. So this is how I develop a calculation on my backend Excel that shows based on the field input, and this is tool that I use to actually do my monthly billing and project to the end. So in the initial phase, like how my team on site, like despite of me being not there every day, so I just try hard to make sure I go once in a week. But what we do in the initial phase, so I use Plan Swift, and then I will plan the sequence of activities. Okay, so this is 130 linear feet a day is what I'm expecting. That's the poor one, and that's 102 linear feet, and that is 29 cubic yards. So I do eliminate the thought process for them to figure out like, oh, how long do I go and what needs to be done. But yeah, based on their input, we might so we work together to get more forms or more equipment or material or labor needed if they feel that this 100 that we initially discussed based on the way the project is going. So we will revise our plan. This is what we furnish, like this project. So we eliminate the process of them thinking and figuring out where's what, like, oh, where is this detail, where is this information. So I highlight and I give them a 11/17 or the bigger screen, like depending upon the type of the project, that they will stick it in the job site, and they should be able to know, like they should be able to see their entire scope with the detail with the dimensions and the lengths. So this eliminates the changes or extra work. So if they are deviating anywhere from the initial plan, they know that they need to notify me sitting in the office. So that way I can go see what changed, and if I don't have revisions, like that actually helped on a bunch of projects so far. They just got a field drawings that was never shared with me. So we kind of keep control on it. So as I said, the weekly tracking tool. So this is a tracking tool, the sample screenshots that I've created. So we have general conditions, slab on grade prep, and place. So my first tab gives me the estimated value and the actual value. This is a sample, so don't take the numbers too serious about it. So this is the estimate and the actual. So this kind of gives me the percentage that I'm running into, like 149% of the manpower that I had. So I overspent 49% of the man hours, and then I overspent 53% of the man hours on my placing. And then this gives me the percentage of, sorry, this is the cost and this is my man hours. So if I go deep, my next tab for this is how we break out the crew, and that gives me my estimate based. So all this information, we get it from HCHS, that's our estimating software. So the way we actually bid it. So this is my per estimate, and then my actually daily tracking tool. So these are the activities that I made, that I simplified it to put everything, the prep and place, in just 2 activities for them to track on in the field. So every day, once I get the daily report, I update our tracking log to show the actual man hours. So this is my total man hours for the day, and this is how many cubic yards of concrete I poured. So this gives me a clear understanding of how I am running. So this is I'm overrunning on my cost. So and then my man hours. So I've spent more. So that's telling me to go look at something. I have finished. I've spent half of the cost and half of the man hours. So it's taking me to this earned value analysis. This, we call it cash flow analysis from our end. This is a sample. This is a sample. This is how we do every month. So when we do our monthly billings, so this is my total expense. This comes from my accounting department, and this is our earned value till date based on the way we build it, based on the actual progress. And then the reason that I do specifically returnage, like cash flow, so it's 10% returnage. I'm not going to get it. I want to make sure I have money flowing for this project. So I don't want to rely on the returnage, which I'm not going to get. Despite of, like, I still keep track of the total percentage, but I just kick that out and make sure I have enough money. And then I will calculate the profit, excluding the returnage, until May. And then I'll just do the returnage, including the returnage. So on this project, if you see, on May, I had 22%, June 21, July 19, and my August is 16%. So if you see, it's constantly falling. So when I go back to check the schedule and what's going on my tracking tool, I see a bunch of my finishers are on this job. So I have a labor classification on the top, which I cropped it out. But so I have the too much manpower on this job. And when I dig into it, so it was just like, so that gives me why. So, and then we will just reallocate the activities and say, like, okay, this is what, so we have to finish this by this certain deadline. That kind of gives them a sense of responsibility.
So Sam, excuse me, when you do your preliminary estimate, you put a number for certain activity. How did you actualize this activity? Because you're using Excel and I'm using P6, but in your case, how did you actualize? What is your actual means to you? So the estimates, you consider the planned cost, for example, the planned budgeted cost.
Mhm.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
And then,
So let's say I have $200,000 to do 300 linear feet of a grade beam.
this is
So
budgeted, right?
that's budgeted, and that's the number I used to bid, and I got the work. So I can't go and ask for more. That's what I'm getting. So I have to keep my cost under that in order to make profit. So when I estimated, so what we do is we put a crew together. Okay, I have two carpenters, three laborers, one operator, and certain equipment, and they are going to do 110 linear feet a day. So that's our initial thought. Like as an estimator, that's my initial thought. So we share that thought with our foreman. He's like, "Oh, you screwed it up," or he's gonna say, "Yeah, that works." So then we will perform and we will track the work in the field, and that gives us, okay, so I estimated it being like 100 linear feet a day, and we ended up actually doing 120 linear feet a day. So he's actually capturing 20 more linear feet. So when we do, so we will use that data on the similar project. If we bid the similar project in the future, we will use that data, and we will just kind of improve ourselves. Like next time when I use like roughly, oh, I'm going to do 110 because we did 120 on the similar project. That kind of keeps me. Uh,
Actually, there's another question from Neil. I think it's related to the same thing, is that you showed a number on column G, I think, for percent complete. And he's asking, what method do you use for that? Is that, for example, the way I understand from his question, is it per like, is it monetary percent complete? Is it progress work? Is it time? How
oh,
do you come up
I
with
have,
it?
yeah, just the same example. 200,000 for 300 linear feet. I have, let's say $1,500 per every linear feet. And if I have finished 100 linear feet, so I have finished $15,000 worth of work, is how we track
So it's true earned value and
true
planned
earned
value.
value. So
So
that,
you compared with the actual cost and what you have.
yes, yes,
And he's asking, it was yeah, monthly progress. Yes. Okay.
yes.
So
So
I want to see your schedule tab. I mean, I know we're running out of time because we got two more
So
speakers.
this is my
I
end
really
of the
like.
project projection. So
Mhm.
I'm projecting it to be within 15% based on the way we are going, because we are running into the winter. So taking everything into consideration, the weather conditions and the timeline of the project, holiday season, and the rate of productivity during this time period. So this is what I'm projecting and I'm trying to hit. If I hit better, that's going to be a internal pull from our end, and put more key people and drive the schedule. So as far as the schedule, this is my, like for this project, this sample that I have, this is my initial schedule according to the general contractor. So they have this specific, like 113 is their start date, and I have my revised schedule. I say, like, if I still start on 127, I should still be able to finish it according to your timeline based on my schedule, because I am overlapping and having multiple crews. So when I produce them my schedule, they will understand, and that goes into the document. And we sit
And then
down
that's
and
how you communicate this with your general contractor to give them the like maybe the
yes,
overall schedule of how you plan to complete that
yes,
task or whatever.
yeah. Even though
That's
they,
another. You know, yes, go ahead. Mhm.
yeah, even though they have their own schedule that we have to stick to, but
Mhm.
we have some leverage of actually. Uh,
Mhm.
working with them, and as long as it is within the timeline, so they're good with it. So this specific project, so it was supposed to be done, so we had to push it. So now this is my schedule for my slab on grade pours. So
Mhm.
this is my pour, my prep and place for each and every pour, and I have the square footage area. This is what I share it with my foreman, so then they have an understanding. So in this area, I have this many square feet, and this is one large pour. So I give them the information and the thought process on how I actually think can be done, and then they will determine what's the best way of doing it, like 19,750 square feet in two large pours. So based on our previous projects. So this is the 4-week look ahead that I was talking about that we use to track our daily progress. So here, so I have this, if you see the activity for every project. So I have two crews. One is my finisher crew and my carpenter and labor crews. And this green is my pour dates. So we have the plan versus action. So we will furnish this based on the discussions during our weekly meeting. I will furnish this copy. Okay, per our discussions, this is our plan for next 4 weeks. So, and then they will track. Okay, so this is what I did this week. So it's done, 100% done, 30% percentage completion. And then this, so why do 4 weeks is, there is no actual big reason. That's my standard 11 by 17 size that I can fit and make it look good. So there is no actual reason behind it. Uh, two, some do 2 weeks and some do 6 weeks, but I feel comfortable like planning ahead for 1 month will give enough leverage, because it's like if I had to ask my foreman, is like, what are you going to do after 5 weeks? So even though I can put it together, but he starts like, we take our field foreman's input really serious here. So we actually go with their opinion and whatever, like we'll take their opinions and give them advice, like you can do this better, this is how it can be done, so let's change this and put these guys on this. So that 4 week look ahead helps us determining if we need any material, equipment, or stuff that needs to be delivered on job site, and we will schedule this. Actually helps us in uh, the safe work practices, because we have enough time if we have any activity that needs special safety attention, or the quality, or the prep, or submittals, RFIs. So the foreman actually gets a chance. Okay, this is what I'm doing in next 2 weeks. So let me take a look at these details and ask questions.
Yep,
So
that looks very good, Sam. I greatly appreciate the detail that you've given us. I'd love to hear more and see more detail about your system. But as I said, we're running out of time. Hopefully, we can do this in another time. If